Yeah, you read that title right. We've celebrated 1234 subscribers and 1666 subscribers, but I never got around to celebrating 999 subscribers, and damn it, I love that game. I can't not pay tribute to it, man. And I swear I say this every time, but god damn is this an awesome set of songs. The best one yet. And y'all did this. You chose these songs. Well, most of them anyways. I took the top 40 most voted songs, ran some polls to pick 5 more, and handpicked the last 5 from the remaining songs to fill out a nice round 50. Anyways, y'all probably know the drill by now. We're ranking them worst to best, and assigning them a score from 0 to 10 using my usual scale. Nothing too complicated, don't put too much song into the scores or ranking, just sit back, relax, and listen to me ramble on about music for the duration of a feature-length film. Boy, I've sure picked a weird hobby. But yeah, onto the ranking proper, starting with the worst song of the entire bunch, and ooh, I'm about to piss off a lot of people, aren't I? Joy.
I wasn't born yesterday. I think you're goddamn right.
I want to start out by saying that I have listened to I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, a few times in fact, back when it dropped, and you may notice that I didn't cover it on Album Impressions. There's reasons for that. I do have thoughts on the album, oh boy do I have thoughts, but not good ones. Like, I do understand what the plot of the album is, which, speaking of, content warning, suicide. Skip to the timestamp on screen if this topic makes you uncomfortable. Anyways, where were we?
Now I'm here. I've been in so many tears, I try my best not to count it.
Essentially, the album's concept is that Quetico commits suicide but sticks around as a ghost to see the aftermath of it. Seeing his own funeral, watching his friends and family go through the process of grief, basically just a whole hypothetical what would happen if I died today type of story, which, y'all, I've heard this one before. You've heard this one before.
If I die young, bury me inside, lay me down on a bed of roses.
Yes, I am in fact calling this the I'm 50 and this is so deep version of If I Die Young by the band Perry. On premise alone, this was already never going to work for me, but okay. So then we get to Born Yesterday, which is kind of a turning point on the album, where those who were grieving for him start to move on with their lives, because grief is finite. And Quetico gets upset by that, tries to convince himself that they're lying about moving on, lying about being okay now, because really, it should be all about him, right? Which makes the whole concept come off like he killed himself for attention, which, how dare you? How dare you?
I've been trying to unsee how you moved on from me, cause it feels like without me.
You're really gonna write an album about depression and suicide and then throw actual suicide victims under the bus by implying that you, and by extension other people, would kill themselves for attention? Really? That's the angle you went with? It doesn't even stop here. Later on the album, he tries to kill his family so he can be with them again, and I'm just like, no, this sucks. It's bad and it sucks and I hate it. I'm inclined to be a tiny bit generous to Quetico because he's still young, barely an adult. He's probably not quite able to comprehend the severity of what his little death fantasy implies. Like, this isn't a Bo Burnham level of poor taste, but I'm not that generous either. He's an adult. He should know better.
Those little things I should have said out loud.
And I'll give Born Yesterday itself a little benefit of the doubt in that it doesn't lean as heavily into the worst aspects of the album, even if it is where they start to creep into the narrative. But there's at least an undercurrent of regret, of wishing he could tell his parents the things he never said while he was still alive. I can see where people could connect to this one on some level.
With you right now, and I take pleasure to stay delayed.
I'll also acknowledge that the song sounds alright. Not great. I don't like either the chorus line itself nor the melody accompanying it. And there's a pleasant soundscape here, but, well, I praised Quetico's production last time I talked about him, but the other thing about Sisyphus is that it had some killer hooks and Born Yesterday just doesn't. It's ambient and tuneless, and it just goes on for 6 whole minutes. But because it also really wants to grab your attention, it can't even work as decent background noise. The biggest failing of Born Yesterday, and of the album as a whole, is that it so desperately wants to be taken seriously, but it's just devoid of depth. It wants you to engage with it on a deeper level, but the more you do, the more it fails to hold up, the worse its implications get. It actively punishes you the more you try to think about it, which, like, how does that even happen? It feels like something went horribly, horribly wrong here. I wasn't born yesterday, and I think this goddamn sucks. Now we get to what was originally going to be the bottom spot in this ranking until I actually sat down and started writing this script, and, well, thank God for Quetico, because this would have been such an underwhelming number 50. A perfectly average song I just don't get. Like, can someone explain this one to me? Because I don't dislike OBS, I just don't understand what it's going for. There's no real groove, there's only vaguely a melodic hook, it's not even that atmospheric, it kind of feels like generic background music designed to fill space. Pleasant and offensive, not really meant to be noticed. Like the soundtrack to a corporate training video or something. There is one thing I dislike about this. The way it starts with the arpeggiated melody kicking in on the offbeat throws me for a loop and makes the song sound off rhythm when the rest of the instruments do come in, but that only lasts for a moment, and after that, it's fine. I really didn't know what to say, man. The song's biggest crime is being kinda bland and maybe a little queasy, but it's fine, I guess. Okay, don't want to sound passive-aggressive, but like, when you're submitting songs for a grab bag, there should be like, at least some degree of understanding the host's taste and playing to him, right? Because this is just a complete and fundamental miss for me.
Burnt offering in the desert, shining city up on a hill, I burned it like Nebuchadnezzar.
Remorseless is just not my thing. It's 3 minutes of ambient bars over a shapeless beat that does nothing for me, where the appeal is primarily based in wordplay and references. It's so ambient that it's basically just rambling spoken word, and I've already said my piece on that, so I was never going to like this. I've sat with this one, tried to get it, tried to decode it, and it's rewarded my work with nothing, really.
Mid-80s in the rear view of a gold Mercedes, midday sun make the crocodiles lazy.
Reading through these lyrics, getting some help from Genius annotations because like hell am I gonna get everything on my own, it feels so unfocused. There are a lot of sharp points, some strong bars, but there's no real conclusion. It's like off the cuff and scatterbrain, talking a lot but not really saying anything.
In pursuance of which I hereby decree all these decrees are herewith abrogated.
And well, I'll freely admit this is personal preference and arguably a failing as a critic, which is something I've never claimed to be anyways, but having to do the work is not the way I like to enjoy music. I'm not here to look smart, I just want to feel things, and this feels like way too much work to unpack for something that doesn't even seem to have a core to begin with. I'm still putting it above Oz because at the very least I notice it, and I want to say I respect it, but if I'm being honest, I probably enjoy it less, so... I mean, look, you have to know what you're getting into when you submit this band for a grab bag, right?
Won't you help me sober up? Growing up, it made me numb.
And I'll say it, Sober Up is good for an AJR song, which makes it like a normal song at best with no real standout qualities. Like, AJR Stomp Clap should be a DEFCON level 1 worst case scenario, but it turns out that just giving them a sound to ground themselves in and imitate limits their clustered nightmarish songwriting and forces them to turn out an actual real song.
Goodbye, goodbye. I said you're my bestest buds. We said that we keep in touch.
It carries with it that same vibe of like Arrested Development that a lot of AJR songs have, but they at least kind of acknowledge it. Like, yep, we grew up and it turns out it sucks and we hate it. It's at least better self-acknowledgement than, say, World's Smallest Violin, which may actually be one of the worst songs of all time. It's kinda catchy, I kinda dig the strings. Rivers Cuomo is there for some reason. Wait, 4 guys standing there, one of them is Rivers Cuomo? God damn it, this is just Weezer too. And now, proving that I'm the most fickle bastard this world has ever seen. Yeah, with Jenny, Nothing More went from first place last time to 46th this time. Oops. Actually, let's talk about God Went North a little more first. I did not put this song in my all-timers tier, and it's pretty much for one reason. For as hard as this song hits emotionally, for as soaring as its best moments are, it's still kind of held back by its modern rockisms, a sound that's just never done a ton for me. And, so Jenny is just specifically that. Like, it's a solid tune. Nothing More write better riffs and have more impassioned vocals than a lot of their contemporaries. If I were just rating the song as a song, it'd be placing a fair bit higher, but the bigger issue is that there's something sour and uncomfortable about the lyrics and the way they're presented.
I don't feel like I'm getting through to you.
Where Hawkins writes to his sister a very angry song in an I want you to be better kind of way, but with like a weird guilt-tripping aspect to it. Our mother spent her last year trying to help you and this is how you repay her? Which, like, I don't necessarily disagree either, but this feels like something that should have stayed private rather than put in a song, and definitely not a single at that. Whereas God Went North felt like a loving tribute and a wail of grief, Jenny just feels like a Twitter call-out post.
Oh God, Jenny, Jenny.
Like, I'm sorry, but there's a difference between making a song about an already publicized beef versus actively making something public just to call someone out. It just does not sit right with me at all. I don't want to be listening to this. I shouldn't be listening to this. And even if I do like the tune, I mean, it's not great either. I'm not gonna let Jenny taint God Went North for me, but damn if it isn't trying to. Last time, I used my 5 pro picks to just straight up pick songs I already knew I loved. In hindsight, that was stupid and boring. This time I'm using them for violence.
And now you got me thinking, I wish I could be a girl in that way. You wish I could be your girlfriend, boyfriend.
I Me Myself has a really damn cool sound to it. Very theater kid core, but with a darker, abrasive edge and a demented energy underlining it. And also surf rock for some reason, cause why the hell not? With Will Wood hamming it up something fierce the entire time, regardless of what he's singing over. It's delightfully devilish. See, Will.
I've been feeling lightheaded since I lost enough weight to fit back in my skin.
And the song is just gender as hell. Will Wood detailing his own experiences with gender dysphoria and identity, feeling like he doesn't fit into the rigid box of masculinity that society has defined for him simply because he has traits and desires considered feminine, instilling him with insecurity as to whether or not he's actually a man, a woman, or even some secret third thing.
Pathetic, meet your anesthetic criteria, pathetic, seeing you become a static.
It's a song about feeling uncomfortable in your own skin, at least until Wood realizes that, no, he's not the problem, it's the way gender itself was perceived by society, as this strict binary concept that no one person actually adheres rigidly to. He isn't a woman just because he has a feminine side, he's just himself, and that's all he needs to be. It's a sharp, well-written deconstruction of gender identity wrapped up in a fun sing-along tune that makes this message accessible. It's friggin' great, man. So if I'm heaping this much praise upon the song, why is it all the way down here? Well... Okay, so if you yourself want to forsake identity as a concept, that's fine. That's totally cool. Telling everyone else to abandon their identities because you've personally decided that it's all fake and meaningless? Identities that other people find comfort and solace in? Identities that give people direction? Dude, don't be a dick. I'm gender fluid with a strong lean towards the feminine. I like being that. It makes me feel good. Don't tell me to my face that my feelings are invalid. Like, what the actual hell? And it's not just the words themselves, but the way that they're whispered, like Wood is conveying some sort of secret knowledge to the audience that bothers me the most. Some truth that he thinks he's the first person to ever discover. It basically dismisses the entire rest of the song in one single blow. Like, so all the feelings you put into words, all the feelings a bunch of genderqueer and even cisgender people sympathize with are all meaningless? It's just flagrantly insensitive. Wood claims he's dealt with accusations of transphobia over this song, which I don't think he's transphobic and the song doesn't read that way to me, but I can also see where the argument could come from in good faith, but if your song can reasonably be interpreted as transphobic in good faith, maybe you should have, rewritten it? Oh, no, you were, tripping balls at a casino, which excuses everything. Yeah, no, bite me.
Am I pretty enough to love back? No, not yet.
I think coming so close and genuinely having something and then stumbling last second like this hurts way more than never quite getting there in the first place. Like, at that point, it's just active self-sabotage, man. It's frustrating because I do really like the vast majority of this song, and if it were all of 30 seconds shorter, it'd probably be like 30 places higher here, but no, if you're winning a race but trip and fall right before the finish line, it doesn't matter how good you were doing up to that point, you still lost in the end. Woo, okay, I think we're finally done with the difficult conversations. For now. Here's a song that's just nice, smiley face.
Perdón si no te supe amar.
A year ago, this would have been an absolutely baffling pick, and on some level, I'm still way outside the target audience for this, but given the popularity of the regional Mexican scene this year, yeah, no, I get it. And Que Agonia is pleasant. Horns, strings, and acoustic guitars give the instrumentation a ton of color. Both ladies sound lovely, even if I can hardly tell them apart here, but it's just a really damn solid tune all around.
Toda una vida traté.
And I like the content too, a breakup song where they're willing to own up to their own mistakes and just let things be as they are, even if the pain of lost love still eats away at them. It's cute. My only real complaint towards this one is that it ends kind of abruptly. It's not especially grabbing me, but I do like it. And as the first song here, I don't feel negative towards it in any way whatsoever. It's just remarkably solid stuff. Also, I'd be remiss not to mention this mashup I found with Rolling in the Deep.
I can't help feeling. Perdón si no te supe amar.
So yeah, you're welcome? Whoa, would you look at the time? It's British o'clock.
Give me your wish so we can
Yeah, Ready to Fly is another UK hit type beat, but it's a pretty dang cool one. I dig the hybrid between happy hardcore, a genre I tend to like in spite of myself, and drum and bass, a style that's always just really cool. And I always love me some good arpeggiated synth runs, plus the song's just got a ton of energy. It's a fun listen. A shallow one, pretty light on substance, but that's kind of true of a lot of dance genres, so whatever.
There's a darkness deep in the ocean, but my head is high in the sky.
Only thing that really bugs me about this one is, wow, that's some intense vocal modulation. Too intense. I don't like it. Like, it doesn't ruin the song, but it's distracting as all hell. I don't have much else to say about it. We're already pretty damn close to the good tier, and this is really only outside it because of that one little nitpick, so it's just a cool tune I like jamming along to.
Now my heart's ready to slide. Let's do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
And so it comes back around, as all things do, to Imagine Dragons. Though, frankly, aside from the chorus, I'd never guessed Wrecked was an Imagine Dragons song, honestly. It's kind of funny how bad their single choices are when even to this day, they still have deep cuts that are pretty enjoyable. Nice mellow groove, big sing-along chorus, and one that doesn't grate either. And there's even an emotional pull to this, with Reynolds mourning the loss of his sister-in-law.
But everything, it reminds me of you and it comes in waves.
And I do think it captures that feeling, but it's portrayed mostly in vague words that are hard to connect with rather than any detailed specific feelings, to the point where it'd be easy to not even realize it's a morning song if you weren't paying close enough attention. Which does kind of hold it back for me, yeah. But like, it's a solid tune with some power to it. If someone told me this was their favorite Imagine Dragons song, I'd probably go, yeah, that scans. I dig it.
One more day, but I need one more rainy day.
Unwell by Matchbox 20.
I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell. I know, right now you can't tell.
This ringing is such a weird, diverse set of songs from off the beaten path that this bog standard radio rock hit from 20 years ago ends up feeling like the Black Sheep of the Bunch by comparison. Which, like, does this hit different if you didn't hear it on the radio 5 times a day for 5 years straight when you were a kid? I have, like, anti-nostalgia for Unwell. It's so fundamental to what my concept of a song is that I can't possibly feel a strong emotion towards it.
And I know they've all been talking about me.
Like, I mean, it's a good radio rock hit. The chorus is catchy and memorable, the banjo is a nice touch, it's a solid encapsulation of the feeling of anxiety, it's enjoyable, but like, what the hell am I supposed to say about it? What new is there to analyze or deconstruct about Unwell by Matchbox 20? Why has this song in particular become so uncharacteristically beloved compared to every single one of his contemporaries? I don't get it. It's so fine, it's good, and nothing more than that. Okay, before I move on, I really need to deal with an intrusive thought first. So, you know that meme where it's like the stereotype of gorilla songs that have hard rap verses and a disconnected alternative style chorus, like... Yeah,
It's handwritten in Sanskrit on a 7 train.
That's what Aquamarine sounds like to me. Okay, not really, but I didn't mean it as an insult anyways, because I like that sound. The groove is fun, the hook has a nice streamy vibe, and it creates a moment of calm to breathe between the intense verses. There's contrast there. As for the verses themselves, well...
We go from Lyra to Libra, from cold water to fever, to World War III, from the treaty signed in Geneva.
Rap's always been a struggle for me, I'm sure we're all aware, but I do like this. Black Thought bounces off the groove well, his flows are varied, the rhymes are slick and clever. I'm, not quite sure the content itself does a ton for me. The two verses feel kinda disconnected, where the first is like, I'm the evolution of the rap game! And the second is like, you gotta take life as it comes, dude. With only a vague God through line tying them together.
Breaking and entering into the theater, the search and seizure is the birth of genius, somewhere between Earth and Venus.
Which, is this just meant to be a light and fluffy brag track, or is it trying to say something deeper? I don't know really, but it's pretty good at being the first one, so I don't really care if it's not quite landing the second. It's a fun time. I like it. I mean, I already covered the album, but sure, might as well give it a second crack.
You used to get excited, but now the thrill is gone, thrill is gone, thrill is gone.
We've we've already reached a point in the ranking where like, what? This is this low? Cause like, this is so much better than any of the bottom 10, it's comical. You're telling me there are 38 songs above it? Yeah, the set's just that stacked, y'all. And The Thrill Is Gone is a fun little groove. It's not as, you know, unique as Escapism, but it's a cool bouncy jam that Ray sells pretty well about realizing that her relationship doesn't excite her anymore, that the thrill is gone, the love is gone, and all that's left is a loveless togetherness.
I can't sleep in the same bed as you, something just doesn't feel right.
Where that upbeat groove dissipates, leaving behind the gloomy, slower stop, and I kinda wish the song committed to it more. It just comes and goes so fast, doesn't really resolve, which, okay, thematically I get it. She wants to try and pretend that nothing's changed, that things are the way they've always been by returning to the fun, exciting mood the song kicked off with, but I don't know. I like that part of the song too, sure, but it feels undercooked. The groove is trying to stay small and tight, but Ray's voice ends up feeling like it needs more backing her up than the song is willing to give her. It just doesn't quite land for me. Like, there's almost a degree to which this feels like Diet Amy Winehouse, which, I mean, spoilers, but the actual Amy Winehouse herself is gonna show up later in this ranking, so oops. I like this one, I really do, but it doesn't feel special in the same way Escapism does.
Go!
You know what I love? Foxes. Hold up, I'm getting told I'm supposed to be reviewing fleet foxes? Don't know what the difference is. I mean, they're still foxes, right?
But I don't know what that will be.
I mean, okay, this is pretty good too, so fair. Like, it's pleasant. Folk is honestly always kind of a hard sell to me, since it's generally a lot more focused on the lyrics over the tune itself, which is, believe it or not, generally not where my interest in music lie. Like, the tune on Helplessness Blues is nice, melodically satisfying, and nice energy in the first half that gives way to a more downbeat but lush back half. And if we're talking lyrics, well, I do get what it's going for. Some degree of like seeing the enormity of the world around you and realizing that in such a vast place full of so many different people, it's impossible to be truly special, so the only thing you can really be is yourself. A pushback against the toxic American concept of individualism where everyone is destined for greatness, and because you're told to see yourself as more important, everyone ends up looking out more for themselves than anyone else.
What's my name? What's my station? Oh, just tell me what I should do.
But at the same time, the way it's executed here feels like a surrender of ambition. It swings too far in the other direction. Put away your dreams, become a cog in the machine, waste away doing nothing but hard labor for the good of the whole. I don't know, I think the last verse and the outro are trying to find a balance between the two, but it doesn't quite get there for me. It's still like pretty nice as a tune, and I can see what they're trying to do, I just wish it landed a bit better for me. As I'm writing this, as I'm recording this, I'm in the middle of suffering through a heat wave without any proper AC in my apartment, so like, goddamn, this heat were spitting fire on this one, weren't they? Okay, yeah, now this is the kind of challenging stuff I really like getting in these sub-specials. Makeshift Swahili is weirder post-punk from the early 80s. The slow, menacing groove accentuated by the eerie, ever-present organ, screeched vocals barely following a tune, all for an ominous warning about how the dissolution of language, i.e. a lack of communication amongst fellow men, will inevitably lead to the fall of civilization as we know it. It's spooky and intriguing, and then it just stops being good. I don't understand. The frankly massive gap in fidelity between the first and second halves has to be intentional, and I just don't get why. They have a cool thing going and then self-sabotage through one bad decision. Like, okay, I'm not completely dense. I know it plays into the aforementioned lyrical themes, but if it comes at the expense of the song sounding, you know, good, maybe it's not worth it. There's still enough of the song that's really gosh darn cool for me to still like this, but it really shoots itself in the foot. Or maybe the band just never talked to the mastering guy? That'd be ironic. You know what, after a run of songs that were a bit more complicated to talk about, yeah, I'll gladly take something easy. Space Song is nice. It's really pleasant. It's serene. What more do you want me to say about a song like this? Dreamy synths and guitars, waves of reverb drowning the mix. It's all about the vibes, man. It's not really punching above what it is, but I don't think it really needed to, or should have. It's just chill. It's too chill to care about punching above. Just really cozy stuff. The kind I can turn off my brain and just relax to.
Who will dry your eyes when it falls apart?
Like, I do understand the underlying sadness permeating the song's atmosphere, what with it being a post-breakup longing for a lost lover and all, but like, I don't know, it's kind of easy to ignore that with how warm it sounds. I don't want to think unhappy thoughts when I'm listening to it. Maybe I'm not listening to Space Song the way Beach House wanted me to, but like, y'all, I know this is only here because it's a TikTok meme. I'm definitely not the only one listening to it wrong, is all I'm saying. Well, I already used the Freeform Jazz joke last time, so just imagine it here again. Yeah, I could go for an upbeat jazzy jam right about now. Only use just packed to the brim with energy, and it's fun as hell for having it, man. It's flashy, it's showy, it's infectious, and then it starts getting, I love when songs do this. Fairly normal tunes that devolve into weirdness. That's what really caught my ear with this one. Big fan of absolutely unhinged music right here. Though it's fairly understated here, really. And the weirder aspects are sprinkled throughout the rest of the song too, which really only makes it more exciting, you know? Admittedly, this is the kind of flashy song where the coolness wears off the more you listen to it, leaving you with a good, fun tune that's maybe a bit too upbeat to quite work for me. I don't know, man. I don't always have the energy for this one. The intrigue that brought me to the dance just isn't quite there anymore, but hell if I care. It was a good time while it lasted. Y'all were really playing fast and loose with the whole meme song clause, weren't you?
I'm going back to 505 if it's a 7-hour flight.
Like, yes, technically 505 is a real song that just became a TikTok meme later in its life, much like Space Song, but I get the sense that it's only known and only got voted for because it's a meme song, and I really don't know what y'all want me to say about it. It's good, but it's like, good in the most bog standard ways.
Stop and wait a sec. When you look at me like that, my darling.
It's like the most, yep, that sure is a rock song it could possibly be. Like, okay, it's got a mellow, smoky groove that's pretty nice. There's a build throughout and a pretty potent climax at the end. It's kind of a slow burn of a song, really, which is why it surprises me that this, of all songs, is a meme song, but yeah, sure, why not? You could do worse.
I crumble completely when you cry. It seems like once again.
The lyrics are, I think they're about a dying love, where the narrator's trying to recapture the feelings they used to have for each other by doing the same things they did back when their love was stronger, trying to pretend everything's the same as it's always been, which doesn't really hit for me and feels a bit too nuanced and kind of depressing for a meme song, but again, what do I know?
I'm going back to 505.
Mostly my impression of this song is that y'all need to go check out more music for yourselves. Look past the charts, look past the TikTok memes, there's so much music out there just waiting to be discovered. You don't have to just take what you're fed and then regurgitate it into someone else's mouth. You're not birds. I am, but you're not. .505 is good. I'm not saying it isn't. It did kind of grow on me the more I listened to it, but I've heard so many more interesting songs than this one, and it makes me wish people were more willing to explore that vast wilderness of music on their own. You have Spotify, it's literally free. Ohio? But why? I feel like the gut reaction most people have upon hearing about Baby Metal is to check out a few songs and dismiss them as a neat gimmick type of band. But that's really doing a disservice to how genuinely cool the music itself is. Not exactly, you know, the most original, just modern melodic metalcore with a J-rock aesthetic, but hey, those are both pretty damn fun sounds on their own, and Megitsune is a hell of a banger. Also, the bridge here in particular crushes, man. And interpolates Sakura, which is, okay, maybe that's leaning a bit too hard into the gimmick, but whatever. And this kind of synth integration is usually not something I'd go for in my metalcore, but hey, it works here, kinda. To be fair to Baby Metal, I don't think I've ever heard another fusion of that kind of synthy metalcore with traces of power metal and even to an extent death metal, so...
Yeah,
Also, it's apparently about female foxes, which, that rocks. I am also a female fox. Nice. Not really much else to say about this one. It's just a plain good rocker that doesn't really try to punch above what it is. I like it. It's about as good as, or maybe even slightly better than Master of Puppets, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. Next. Alright, who's ready for some punk? Gotta scream! Okay, I'm gonna tackle the easy parts of New Noise first. Damn, this rocks. Those riffs go so hard, there's an unhinged energy to the vocals, a strong groove underlining it all, there's a lot of different parts of this that all flow together to make the song kinetic and exciting. Purely as a piece of music, this goes the hell off. Right, now that that's out of the way, time for the meat of this segment. These lyrics are dumb as hell and I wanna rant about them. Never has such a killer punk tune had so much boomer energy radiating off it. Old man yells at cloud, or in this case, pop music. I like to think that the guy heard Bop once and got really mad and proclaimed it as the death of music itself or something. All for the crime of being a catchy tune with mass appeal. Like, y'all, as someone who enjoys a ton of loud, abrasive music, y'all should know there's some sounds that are just never going to be mainstream. And being mainstream isn't inherently bad or anti-art or whatever else, as any of my 14 bezels of popular music should tell you. Guys, your tunes are good enough that you don't need to sink to this level, you know? And you wanna know the funniest part? They became the newbie anyways.
This is gonna be an all-out war.
And I quote, "Today, the song is a staple warm-up song for hockey and football games. Congrats, y'all got your wish. Don't you just look stupid now." Really though, this is an awesome tune that's like right up my alley musically, but boy howdy does not speak to any emotional truth in any way whatsoever, and it's just a funny contradiction of a song in hindsight. Pops the hell off though, so, you know.
Thank you.
Oh hey, would you look at that? The actual Amy Winehouse, as promised. Yeah, like, even the real deal herself doing her thing is still, you know, not exactly my thing, but I think it speaks more to the quality of the 30 songs yet to come that Valerie is so low in this ranking, really. Like, compare this to The Thrill Is Gone or Only You, and Amy Winehouse as a performer is just on a completely different level. This woman could sing, man! And then there's the obvious dub, this song's gay as hell, y'all. Like, this is a cover, and I haven't bothered to check out the original because I think this song played straight wouldn't quite work for me. Might come off as cloying and possessive, but just the mere act of having a woman sing it makes it cute, in the same way Dove Cameron's boyfriend is. Like, hell yeah, girls rock!
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the border.
And it hardly needs to be said that Mark Ronson knows how to produce a great throwback. 5th biggest song of all time and biggest song of the entire 2010s kind of speaks for itself, but god is this groove just, well, groovy. Horn, strings, and piano accentuating the rock instruments, giving the whole thing a loose and exciting up-tempo feel. It's just fun, y'all. I love it when girls are having fun. Hell yeah. Ooh boy, this is gonna get heavy. I'll just state up front that I love me some good atmospheric metal, and An Angel of Great and Terrible Light is some pretty good atmospheric metal. Doom metal isn't my favorite, admittedly. I prefer the intensity of black metal or the riffage of post metal, but by god is there a ton of spooky atmosphere here, and some delightfully crushing guitar tones as the song creeps onwards. That being said, I wish it had a little more to latch onto beyond the guitar textures, a little more to make it stand out. It fades a bit too much in the background for me. What absolutely does not fade into the background are the lyrics, which, Jesus Christ, god damn. Ha, but no, hearing a trans woman go through the depths of her own emotional trauma caused by growing up in the church, and in particular grappling with the question of, if God unconditionally loves us all, why did he put me in the wrong body? It's a crisis of faith, an overwhelming flood of emotions set to equally overwhelming music. But the thing is, I can sympathize here, but I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to feel about this as a trans person myself. Like, I don't really struggle with religion at this point. I know where I stand on it, but I also don't think my opinion here really matters. This is an act of purging, a catharsis designed for the artist's sake that we're all merely witnessing, perhaps with the intention of helping others struggling with the same doubts. It's doing exactly what it needs to do, even if it leaves me a little colder than I'd like. Guitar Hero World Tour Nation, rise up! God, I love the Mars Volta. They have the unhinged, chaotic energy that only prog can truly deliver, but as alumni of a post-hardcore band, they also know how to write some goddamn sticky melodies and killer hooks. Elvia Elviacaz also just has this, like, perfect groove to it. A call and response between the guitars and vocals in the verses, culminating in a frantic chorus of sorts. Before things grind to a halt for an ominous down-tempo salsa number.
Blackmail shit fell off every mountain.
It's an abrupt mood shift, but one that the song flows in and out of so naturally yet violently that it feels like the seedy underside of the bright up-tempo song on top of it. It's definitely the lesser of the song's two halves though, but like, yeah, this is a goddamn great tune start to finish. At least the radio edit is. This is one of those few rare cases where I do genuinely believe the shortened version of the song is superior, mostly because, like, what does having 7 more minutes of the song add here? It mostly extends the slower parts to this long, tedious denouement that just fades into the ether, and I'm not a huge fan of the vocal filter that comes in for the last, like, God, 5 minutes of the song either. It's just a drag.
Shark guys got tangled in the walls of you.
Like, Francis the Mute is plagued by this. Really tight, cool tunes stretched way too thin for their minimal substance to actually hold up in their longer forms. And yeah, the short version does lose that really cool manic bridge. Which is, frankly, the only thing that keeps me coming back to the longer version, but that's the one I gotta rank here, so blah. The radio edit is definitely the better version, and I will hear no argument to the contrary, but that doesn't stop Elvia from being an absolutely killer tune all the same. Amplitexture is their best album though, fight me. Okay, stop. A little backstory.
Black is a color.
So, Black is the Color of My True Love's Hair is a traditional folk song of dubiously Scottish origin that dates back far enough that we don't really know exactly who or when it was first written or performed. At least as far back as 1916, if not earlier. The first known recorded version was released in 1941, and since then there have been many, many other covers. It's written as a love song, but it's kind of melodically off. At least the versions I've checked out, they often have a gloomy, mournful, sometimes even creepy vibe to them. And I can only assume that's why Patty Waters decided to take the song and turn it into this. Which, yeah, it's bloody brilliant to take this moody, unsettling love song and recontextualize it as a horrifically visceral breakup song. It certainly leaves an impression. It's almost the kind of thing where I feel like I shouldn't be listening to this. Where Patty Waters, burdened by intense heartbreak, just walked into a studio one day and decided that this was the art she was going to turn those feelings into. And I do think there's an extent to which this is a performance, not just a venting session, because, well, it's obviously meant to be provocative. The simple act of releasing it at all is provocative in of itself. That's true of a lot of this brand of nauseatingly uncomfortable art. If it really was something the artist didn't want us to see, they wouldn't have shown it to us in the first place. That it's a quote-unquote performance, that it was released commercially, doesn't make it any less real, doesn't make the emotions it's trying to communicate any less real. If it's making the listener uncomfortable, it's succeeded at what it's doing. It's succeeded at being provocative. You may notice I'm kind of talking around the song itself, which is not for me if we're being honest. A 14-minute avant-garde free jazz performance from the 1960s driven primarily by vocals, piano, bass, and drums. I don't think you can string together a set of descriptors less relevant to my tastes.
Black. Black.
And if I were to put on this music critic hat I stole for a moment, I feel like it peaks a bit too early with the chaotic screaming breakdown around the 7 to 8 minute mark and doesn't really offer anything new after that. The last, like, 5 minutes could have been cut entirely without sacrificing the song's emotional potency, but, I mean, don't I sound like an absolute buzzkill saying all that? I don't know, just feels like the completely wrong way to even talk about this song.
Black. 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 Black.
Like, I'm in a weird place with this one where I understand what it's going for as a piece of art, and by God does it achieve its goal in that respect. But as a piece of music, it's not really an experience I'd want to sit through more than a few times. It's basically peak, I respect it more than I enjoy it. And there's certainly nothing else like it out there, but, how do I rate it? How do I rank it alongside the other 49 comparatively normal songs here? What? Don't ask me to do the impossible. Screw you, you're getting a bonus crow pick instead.
I go through all this before you wake up.
Bjork is throwing stuff off a mountain. Why is she throwing stuff off a mountain? Like, I know I'm using hyperbole to pivot away from a song that's hard to talk about, but frankly, this one might be even more difficult. Mission failed successfully. I mean, it's a weird artsy pop song that just so happens to be about, suicidal ideation.
I wonder what my body would sound like, slamming against those rocks.
Like, okay, that's not really what the song's about, but it's certainly part of it. Something along the lines of, like, Bjork waking up before her lover so she can have some time of her own. Some time to vent all her frustrations by throwing them away, throwing parts of herself away. Metaphorically throwing herself off the edge to purge all those dark thoughts so that she can bring only the good ones back to her love.
Every morning I walk towards the edge.
It's almost like a sense of being smothered by her relationship, except without the smothering aspect, if that makes sense. That probably doesn't make sense. I don't know, it's certainly a really makes you think type of song, but in a way where I mean that totally unironically. Like, yeah, it's a bit abstract, but with such evocative energy that it really does make you think. And the tune itself is also quite good.
So I can feel happier to be safe again with you.
The melodies are a bit weird, sure, but you can hear the passion Bjork's putting into every note, and the stuttery and manic yet also relaxed and dreamy instrumental works really damn well, too. Pairs well with the whole two-sided nature of the content, and I especially dig the momentum it builds towards the end. It's cool. I don't know, I find this song fascinating more than I actually enjoy it, and don't get me wrong, I do get something out of this emotionally, but I think it's more just cool rather than something I feel, but it is pretty damn cool. There's really nothing else quite like Oh Superman. Performed almost entirely a cappella through vocoder vocals and light synth accompaniment, fantastic melodies and harmonies, and that constant ha 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 throughout the entire track. It never stops, it never goes away, it just keeps hammering away at you, making you anxious. It's unsettling, it helps accentuate the, like, uncanniness of the song, like it's a facsimile of what human music is supposed to be.
Hi, I'm not home right now, but if you want to leave a message, just start talking at the sound of the tone.
Honestly, if this was like a normal song, I'd be inclined to compare it to a Carpenter song, but then if it was a normal song, it wouldn't really be, like, special in any way, now would it? It's an experience more than anything, an experience that's nothing short of spiritual. A monument, no, a shrine to technology.
Here come the planes. They're American planes.
Which, yeah, given the mechanical nature of the song, of course it's a commentary on the constant forward march of technology, the anxiety that comes with the always being left behind in favor of cold, lifeless machines, the anxiety that even they won't be enough to help us, to save us should worse come to worse, the anxiety that all these advancements in technology are driven almost solely by militaristic desires, the desire to build better killing machines.
And when justice is gone, there's always force.
Like, I feel like it's hard for me to truly get this song because it's so self-evidently colored by the oppressive atmosphere that comes from living under the Cold War. That fear that, at any given moment, for no reason whatsoever, you and everyone you love could be erased from existence in the blink of an eye. That's really where the fear stems from, and even in our modern world, I mean, it's not like that fear's really gone away now, has it?
So hold me now, and your llama.
And yet, when everything comes to a head, when the bombs fall and reduce us all to ashes, nothing will remain but the facsimiles of life we gave birth to, that turned around and brought death to us all, their cold hearts still beating ever on unceasingly. Ha, 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 ha. And on the subject of machines, Paranoid Android by Radiohead.
This courteous
Paranoid Android is one of the most iconic and probably also one of the best Radiohead songs. It's got a lot of parts to it. I like when songs have a lot of parts to them. The parts are all pretty cool, and I gotta give credit where it's due. The progression of this song is goddamn flawless. The way every part of the song transitions to the next part is so buttery smooth, man. That moment when the heavy guitars kick in for the first time is a particular highlight. That riff slays, god damn. And now that I'm done talking about the music, here's the part where I go into deep lyrical analysis mode. What? Don't look at me, I have no goddamn clue. According to Genius, Thom Yorke's lyrics were based on an unpleasant experience at a Los Angeles bar during which he was surrounded by strangers high on cocaine. In particular, Yorke was frightened by a woman who became violent after someone spilled a drink on her. Also according to Genius, there's a lot of deep emotional and political commentary buried in the lyrics. And yet, even with annotations in front of me, I struggle to get anything out of them. Like, you have to really stretch to wring a narrative out of this. I think that's the big Achilles heel for me with this one. It's cool, it's very cool, but it's such a dry listen. And as such, I can only really discuss it in an equally dry manner. The movements and the music itself are good enough to mostly make up for that, but it's mostly just neat. And I've known it for so long, it's so ingrained into my mind that I don't really know how to talk about it or rationalize it anyways. I don't know, you know what I think? I think less people need to talk about Radiohead actually. There's too much Radiohead discourse. I'm going to do my civic duty and not write a single word more about. Wait, is this a new beat that reviews were complaining about? Yeah, shut the hell up then, boomers. Behold, the song Justin Timberlake was trying to replicate when he made Can't Stop the Feeling. I kid, but evidently Ken Heat had a big role in the early aughts quote-unquote classic Napoleon Dynamite, though I know it more from Elite Beat Agents, the true GOAT. Actually, DDR was always my favorite, and I'm just gonna assume that, yep, yeah, it made its way there too, yep, of course it did. A dance song about how there's nothing else to do but dance that sure as hell makes you want to get up and dance? Yeah, duh. Like, God, this is the original disco throwback, and yet it sounds so much more fresh and loose than pretty much all the throwbacks we get nowadays. Like, man's just living here. It's got like 3 different hooks, and every single one of them is one of the biggest earworms I've ever heard in my life. And that key change, it's just... immaculate, friggin' undeniable. Like, even when I'm not quite feeling the groove, that key change still gets me every time, man. Of course, the song does a damn good job of telling me to let go of all my worries and just dance them all away, so it's no surprise I'm always boogieing along by the time the fade out hits. It's so infectious that it turns any old evening into the greatest dance party in the world. How could you not love it?
Ooh, a puppy! Oh, careful, honey. He has a knife. What? No, I don't.
I feel like Knife Party is gonna end up as one of the easiest songs to talk about here because, like, it just plain rocks. That's it. That's all that needs to be said. It's not deep, it's not complex, it's not eloquent. If anything, it's kind of a try-hard edgelord anthem, but who cares when it makes you want to throw up metal horns and headbang to it? It rocks so much harder than any other Deftones song I've heard, and that makes me want to get violent, man. The bridge is really what pushes it over the edge for me, though. The drumming here is phenomenal, and the vocals that are both like angelic singing and screaming in terror is a Paper Chase level of inspired musical decision. I love it, man. I really don't know what else to add about this one. It's just a jam, a terrifying jam. Horrorcore, but no, not that way. Guitars go brrrr. Oh, hell yeah, it's 2013 again. Let's get buggy with it.
Tantalized by the cockroach and its promise.
See, like with Paranoid Android, I feel like Cockroach King is suffering a little from I know this song too well, and it isn't exactly where my tastes lie at the moment syndrome. Like, I kind of feel like I've outgrown this one. 10 years ago, this was the kind of wacky, quirky weirdness I loved, but nowadays, I just do not even flinch at it. It's just cool prog metal tune now with, again, no real emotional pull or attachment. The fascinating thing to me is that this song got a ton of flack with people getting into Hagen through the mountain, but like, no, guys, this is just what this band does. It's tame for them even, at least until they stopped having fun on their last few records, but no, while this is probably their wackiest, goofiest song on the whole, it's not for any one left field moment like their earlier material had in spades, just a consistent off-kilterness, mixed in with some goddamn killer riffs. You may need a bit of a taste for prog wank to properly stomach it, sure. The instrumental section in particular goes places, but it's more that it's just rock solid all around. Catchy hooks, crushing riffs, a sufficient spice of quirkiness that keeps it interesting throughout, and it just plain rocks, man. But as I've grown older, I've just naturally gravitated towards music with a bit more of an emotional punch to it, you know? Let's get to some of that, shall we?
Hate me today.
Jesus Christ, where to even start with Hate Me? Well, see, yeah, if I'm gonna go over some very standard radio rock that still hits like a goddamn truck, this is what I want. It's got power, it's got emotion, it's got life to it, man. But it's also got, like, man, the level of self-loving that it takes to make something like this is just oof, man.
You made me compliment myself when it was way too hard to take.
Like, get right down to the core of it, and it's a breakup song of the it's not you, it's me variety, which can very easily go wrong. Though the music video frames it as being about his mother, but there's probably a little of both in there. And it's definitely clumsy in spots too, but it's an honest, visceral, and powerful expression of an emotion. And by this point, y'all should know how I feel about honest, visceral, and powerful expressions of emotions, right?
And with a sad heart, I say bye to you and wave.
It's that kind of tearing yourself open to let your guts spill it onto the floor that was emblematic of 2000s rock. But whereas a band like, say, Simple Plan only does it for pity, Justin Furstenfeld clearly means every word he's singing. And it's not what he did either. He acknowledges all the kindnesses she did for him, all the support and love she gave, and how he never really repaid any of it when she needed him. It's what he failed to do that tears him up inside.
Hate me today.
And like, we all regret the opportunities we missed just as much as the mistakes we've made, right? It's broadly relatable. It just hits, man. The detail's there, the passion is there. That's what makes it believable and uncomfortable for sure. Again, I probably shouldn't be listening to this, but facing your own demons should be uncomfortable. It's hard. It's really goddamn hard, man. And the bravery of a song like Hate Me may be what impresses me the most about it.
See what's good for you.
Muna featuring Phoebe Bridgers, call that alternate universe boy genius.
She's so soft like silk chiffon.
Actually, is Phoebe Bridgers queer? Yes, as it turns out. That scans. Anyways, Silk Chiffon, gay bops, gay bops, gay bops. I know I usually have the heavier media discussions the closer we move towards the top of the list, and believe you me, oh lord, they're coming. But like, sometimes you just need a dumb fun pop song, you know? About gay people being gay, as in happy, and also gay, as in homosexual, gay.
Life's so fun, got my mini skirt and my rollerblades on.
Like, Silk Chiffon is just a blissful little jam. Fun and bouncy, tinge of a bit of a rock edge that gives it a lot more oomph, just an overall playful and, well, euphoric vibe. Queer euphoria is like one of the big themes we're gonna be seeing a lot of as we move up higher on this ranking, so it makes sense that this song in particular is our gateway to the top 20. It's catchy, it's loose, it's uplifting, it's just super easy to listen to and always puts me in a good mood, you know? Even when I worry I'm not in the mood for bops, this one comes out and I'm reflexively jamming along and I realize, yeah, no, it's just that good. Maybe because it's gay as hell. I like gay as hell. I'm gay as hell. Woo! Yeah, I've always preferred blue to orange anyways.
She's an Oklahoma smoke show.
Incredibly annoying take time, Oklahoma Smoke Show almost feels like an alternate universe more than my hometown, where instead of leaving the town and following her dreams, she stays and wastes away, letting those dreams die in a small town bar. It's kinda just sad in a way that doesn't really go anywhere, but sometimes that's just how life is, you know? And it helps that the actual tune itself is kinda fantastic, yeah.
I've been here, I've been up all night, thinking about life with you and I.
The the folksy, warm melodies, the slow burn build, Brian's wailing voice, and especially the big climactic guitar and fiddle duet, where my only real gripe is that it feels like it ends all too soon, but it does feel complete in a sense. Everything coming full circle for the quiet outro, and then it just stops. The night's over, it's time to rest and do it all again tomorrow. In that sense, maybe it's not so sad after all, if she's at least having a good time of it, right? Also incredibly annoying take this clear something in the orange, and it's not even particularly close. Like, yes, I do get where Oklahoma Smoke Show is more conventional, but I'm not really here to rank songs by their unconventionalness. Sometimes the more standard song is just the better one, you know? It's the one I enjoy listening to more, the one that makes me feel more. Though, I mean, it doesn't even glance Dawn's, but then again, what does? Stay tuned for December, y'all.
You've got nowhere to go, although you're all gussied up.
You know what? Yeah, I have more than enough guitar violence in my life. Let's get some electronic violence up in here. The first time I listened to Can You Tell by Jane Remover was right after my first listen to Black is the Color, which... makes it look almost normal by comparison, but then Can You Tell also makes most other songs look normal by comparison to it, so...
How many times do I gotta tell you the world is in your hands?
I don't know if this counts as hyperpop, but if it does, then it's the side of hyperpop I like the most, the Just Go Ham side. Violet Pony does it really well too, and like, it definitely is more style than substance. I'm pretty sure this song has lyrics, but I've never really dug into them because who cares? I only care about how friggin' hard this goes, like, just listen to it. Do you need the substance when the style itself is this good? I'm gonna start calling stuff like this blisscore because it's an absolutely joyful bout of catharsis. It's like wielding sound itself as a weapon, yet still choosing to make something beautiful with it anyways. Just absolutely stunning to listen to. The kind of music I enjoy on a very primal level more than anything, but like, can you blame me? This may be the only time I say this and genuinely mean it, so God bless America.
I remember when you used to tell me, nigga run, go back where you come from.
Getting the obvious out of the way, this land is so goddamn cool! Almost objectively the coolest song in this entire list. Gary Clark Jr. can absolutely make that guitar wail, the bassy groove is tight as hell, and there's just such an air of confidence and swagger that you can't help but feel like a bad enough dude that you could, in fact, save the president.
Paranoid and pissed off. Now that I got the money.
And it's like actual genuine American pride, rather than the racism and xenophobia that Americans peddle as an excuse for their fascism. The kind of people who like that America is a messed up capitalistic hellhole founded on the belief that anyone who isn't a straight, white, rich male should die broken alone.
You can meet my friend the governor. Only if you wanna try me.
Like, I'm definitely not the right person to speak on discrimination because of the obvious reason, but Clark sure is, and goddamn does he go off on all the idiotic racists who want to conveniently ignore the fact that their ancestors are European settlers and that the white man does not and has never owned this country. How could they dictate who this land belongs to when it doesn't belong to them either? All that really matters is that Clark was born and raised American, and the color of his skin has no bearing on that plain and simple fact.
This land is mine, yeah. This land is mine.
On top of that, this land is also about, well, land. Like, literally being a landowner. He bought this land with his own money that he earned. What's more American than that? I, too, wish I could play the guitar so well that I could use 6 solos as payment for a house. That is what happened here, right? Right? This land presents the worst kind of people showing their worst selves, and Clark just throws it all back in their faces with a classy yet passionate brand of anger. It's just so goddamn satisfying, man. Righteous and pissed, swaggering and confident, and like, again, just listen to that guitar, man. It goddamn slays. So cool. Y'all, I cannot stress enough that Screen Violence is such a goddamn excellent album. Church has made it the Cure song. I feel like that statement alone justifies How Not the Drown's placement here, but like, dark, brooding, down-tempo synth-pop with rock undertones and gothic overtones, a killer hook, a killer feature, the man himself, Robert Smith. It just sounds so cool. It's the kind of song you can hear dozens of times, and believe you me, I have, and never get sick of. And heck it, I've pretty much already reviewed this song in a video, but it's one that basically nobody watched, so I may as well repeat what I said there and even elaborate on it a little. Following their pivot to a more commercial sound on 2018's Love Is Dead, Churches were featured on the song by EDM producer Marshmello, who then went on to also collaborate with known abuser Chris Brown, and when Churches called Marshmello out over it, Brown responded with actual literal death threats and sicked his similarly abusive fanbase on the band. And How Not to Drown is basically a direct response to that debacle. They tried to go mainstream and the mainstream tried to drown them. So they said, screw it, let's put out our most uncommercial album to date with an abrasive lead single followed up by a song that's basically just Churches sticking a middle finger to the music industry at large. They pretty much retroactively invented bassness through the sheer power of that play. Like, maybe I am reading too deep into it, maybe it's just about general dissatisfaction with the music industry at large and not any singular event, but even if you toss all that aside, you still got one of Church's best songs to date on sheer coolness of the tune alone, so it's kinda just self-evidently excellent, you know? Stream Screen Violence. No, I don't care that it's been 2 years since the album release, do it! Pause the video and do it now! Okay, good, moving on. Oof.
Well, I've been afraid of changing.
Landslide is probably Fleetwood Mac's signature song, or, well, one of them anyways. Dreams, The Chain, friggin' Go Your Own Way, God Rumors was a stacked album, wasn't it? But it's the simplest of the lot. Hell, the simplest song of this entire video, but it's kind of effortlessly beautiful in its simplicity. Not but 2 acoustic guitars and Stevie Nicks' voice, and that's all it really needs.
I took my love and I took it down.
And the song's deeply relatable, the anxiety that, as we get older, as time moves forward, everything we've built could all come crashing down like a landslide. There's a fascinating conversation to be had about how American culture has us build our entire lives around work and marriage, and basically nothing else. And losing one or both of the supporting pillars is a blow that's hard to come back from, but I don't know, man. I don't really feel like having that combo right now.
So, take this love, take it down.
Cause the simple fact of the matter is, I'm getting older too. Yes, turn 30 and immediately get nostalgic for better days, a tale as old as time, blah blah blah, but it's true, man, and God does it hit. I'm afraid of getting older, of changing as a person, of looking back on my life and seeing naught but regrets. Ugh. I've known the song practically all my life, and yet only now do I feel like I'm really getting it. It's somehow both so easy and yet so difficult to listen to, man. Just a beautiful little song.
Well, let's bring it down.
Something's really been bugging me. Like, I can't help but wonder what Elvia Elviacaz could have been if it wasn't crushed under its own length. Oh wait, duh! Man, 2000s post-hardcore is just an untouchable genre, isn't it? One Arm Scissor is such a banger, y'all. That main riff slays, and the hook's an absolute juggernaut. The melodic leads are tasty as hell, and there's even a light prog edge to it. The song's ever-evolving, refusing to repeat itself until it circles back around to that chorus. Just like how every trip we take around the sun feels different, but we always end up right back at the same place we started when all's said and done. And that astral aspect actually ties in pretty nicely to the lyrics, which, and this took a bit of decoding, but hear me out. It's about a Russian spaceship that got stranded due to a communications error. The crew having to whip together a makeshift antenna from scrap parts to re-establish a connection to their ground crew. And you can really hear that desperation in the lyrics and Cedric's voice as the song goes on, and nah, I'm just messing with y'all. The lyrics are total gibberish. About drugs, I think. Probably.
Dissect a trillion sides away. Will you get this letter?
Not like the words really matter when the moment this song comes on, I'm singing loud and jamming along like my life depended on it, because god damn it, maybe it does. It's just so catchy, so fun, such a banger. What Arm Scissor just rocks, man. What else do you want me to say about it?
Get away, get away, get away, get away.
Yeah, this song's pretty cool, but you know what would make it better? Yeah, now that's more like it. Who even thought of this? Putting prog's biggest sad boy onto a breakneck drum and bass banger? Steven Wilson and Goes Hard are two phrases that should never be in the same galaxy, much less the same sentence, and yet The Fountain by Pendulum featuring Steven Wilson sure goes hard as hell, man. It's so easy to forget how good drum and bass is as a genre, just a pure formula for success when it comes to pump-up jams. The frantic energy here is practically non-stop the whole way through, and that guitar lick in particular makes me feel like I'm transcending to a higher plane of existence. Like, again, not a ton to actually say about this song. What is this song about anyways? Obviously it's about going hard as hell, man! Doesn't matter what the words are when the tune itself makes me want to break stuff, and or break down crying.
Behind my eyes, his rage alone.
It's absolutely hilarious that this Pendulum banger just straight up turns into a normal Steven Wilson song for like 20 seconds, for absolutely no reason. And the lyrics here are honestly pretty laughable too. Stevie's being such a try-hard edgelord here, Jesus Christ, dude. It's a pretty unintentionally funny song, honestly, but all that does is put me in a good mood that the music itself is more than glad to reinforce. It's just plain awesome, man. We all know and love Angel in real time, and if you don't, you better check out my 2022 album list right now. But let's not forget that Go Farther and Lightness is pretty damn great too.
And I wanna make it strong.
Like, goddamn, listen to those horns wail, rock along with that up-tempo groove, open up your heart and let it take you where it takes you. I've already mentioned that Crew Euphoria is gonna be a running theme in these high rankings, and while the Heart of the Muscle isn't explicitly queer, pushing through the pain of heartbreak to force yourself to heal, to try and love again even though it's hurt you before and may hurt you again, the sentiment still holds, man.
There will be no years of silence in the shadow of regret.
More than anything, it's life-affirming, and goddamn if that's not what I need more than anything else these days. Sometimes life sucks and everything is lame, but you can't let the fire go out just because of a little rain. It may take a bit, but the clouds are eventually going to part and let the sun shine through. And that sun's not gonna last forever either. It's going to rain again someday, but you've learned to keep an umbrella handy for when it does. You've learned not to let one bad day ruin your year. It's the difficult balance of keeping both your optimism and pessimism in check, denying both naivete and cynicism. And similarly, God, this song is just a perfect balance of groovy and gorgeous. I find the best way to jam along to it is to move your hips or snap your fingers or whatever else to the offbeats. They just punch a lot harder than the onbeats. It's so much fun. And damn, man, do just be shouting by the end of the song though. So true, bestie.
The heart is a muscle.
I've heard this one so goddamn many times that it's not really fresh anymore, yet it never gets any less fun, any less uplifting, any less exciting. The two tunes right below it I might like more on a musical level, but The Heart is a Muscle standing for something just puts it that extra notch above. Always puts me in a good mood. It's such a delightful listen, man. And I must repeat, man, 2000s post-hardcore is just an untouchable genre, isn't it? Okay, well, Alive with the Glory of Love is more pop-punk than anything, and quite a fun little tune at that. Written by lead singer Max Bemis about and from the point of view of his grandparents, who were Jewish survivors of the Holocaust? Yeah, huh. Isn't this song a bit too upbeat for its dark subject matter? That's an understandable first reaction, but it's really more of a love song than anything. That just so happens to be set in Nazi Germany.
And when our city, fast and shitty, falls to the axis.
And damn is it a powerful love song. Gotta be like one of, if not the most romantic song ever written, right? Come hell or high water, come war and death, they only have eyes for each other, and nothing else matters because they're alive and in love. Even if they're separated, hell, even if they're killed, their feelings for each other are already etched into eternity. It's intense, it's joyful, and it's catchy as hell. Like, damn, Fall Out Boy, Green Day, Panic at the Disco, any and all those big 2000s pop-punk bands would kill to have a guitar line this good, man. And I dare you to point me to any moment in any of their songs that's as grand and triumphant as this utter stomper of a bridge. and when the tempo does kick back in, it hits all the harder because of the slowdown preceding it. Just expertly crafted songwriting right there, man. My only minor gripe with this one is that it's a bit, overtly sexual for my taste, but I fully recognize that that's very much a me issue because I am very, very asexual, It's too goddamn beautiful and too goddamn fun for that to really turn into a song for me anyways. And here comes Abel to be a buzzkill yet again.
Oh, baby, where are you now when I need you more?
The title track to After Hours is a weird one to consider outside the context of the album. It's the emotional low point and yet climax of the entire album for one, and it really needs the weight of all that love, heartbreak, and regret before it to really hit, which makes it especially weird that this decisively non-pop song was released as a promo single and then actually charted in the top 20. Yeah.
But I almost died in my dream again.
A long, slow, almost ambient intro that gives way to a stiff, stuttery groove accompanied by nothing but huge swells of sub bass, all from one of the Weeknd's thinnest, weakest, most pathetic performances. It's so tense, man, but also kinda groovy and even surprisingly catchy. How does that even happen?
Never coming to I was running away from peace and reality.
And the moment the song really kicks it in the first chorus is earth-shattering, like getting hit head-on by a speeding car. It straight up gives me chills every time I hear it, and I've heard it literally dozens of times, so that's how you know it's just that good. And After Hours is also great because whether or not you like The Weeknd, this song has something for you. Like him, it's deeply compelling character drama. Hate him, he spends the entire song being a pathetic loser. Win-win, baby.
I know it's all my fault.
Where Abel is well and truly alone, unable to cope with the fact that the girl he loves has moved on from him, promising he'll treat her better, give her the best sex, do anything for her if she just came back to him, but she isn't even there anymore to hear any of it. She saved her tears for another man. It's a bleak, desperate plea for forgiveness that we already know is destined to go nowhere. All he's doing at this point is lying to himself, lost in an endless night with no dawn in sight. Oh wait, there it is, and he's dead now. Oops. Well, anyways.
This time I won't break your heart. Your heart. No.
Adele?
Like you imagined when you were young.
Man, When You Were Young really is that song, huh? I was introduced to it through Guitar Hero 3, and it was one of the easier songs there, so I played the hell out of it when I was first getting into the game. Probably also because it's just that good. It's just so goddamn beautiful, so uplifting and propulsive. Mr. Brightside could never. Make this the eternal staple of the UK charts, cowards.
You sit there in your heartache, waiting on some beautiful boy to.
All those lovely strings, soaring vocals, and upbeat energy for a cute little love song. Or is it? There's a, cyclical nature to the song where you can't quite tell if it's about love or about heartbreak, or both. An endless loop where this girl sits around waiting for the perfect savior, falls madly in love with them, and then when that love falls apart, she slumps back down to a vulnerable low point that she needs a savior to pull herself back out of. It's a kind of depressing cycle, actually.
They say the devil's water, it ain't so sweet. You don't have to drink right now.
And a self-imposed one, too, where she almost seems to be trapped in her youth, the innocence and naivete of childhood, leading her to trust in every guy who says just the right words, does just the right things, only to break her heart again and again. A cycle she can only escape by growing up, breaking out of her bubble, and taking initiative herself, to patch herself up and make her heart stronger. But she is too busy chasing that high of falling in love for the first time over and over again. Though, to be fair, what a high it is.
He doesn't look a thing like Jesus, but he talks like a gentleman, like you imagine.
Like, whenever I question why I rank this song this high, that immaculate string build comes out of nowhere to bowl me over every time. It starts off really damn good and then becomes goddamn amazing right around the halfway point, right during that quiet part, and just never lets up from there. The somber low point, the soaring guitar solo, the final chorus, it's just, ooh, god damn it, man. This was actually played on the radio, actually popular? Better than we deserved, honestly. What a classic.
More than you'll ever know.
all the gender feels, man. Thrash Unreal makes me feel like the hottest damn girl who's ever lived. It's just an absolutely joyous tune about being yourself and living your life to its fullest in the face of adversity and hardship, because damn it, we only get one shot at it and we're gonna make the most out of it. No matter how much older we get, no matter what the world thinks about us, it ain't gonna end until we goddamn say it's over. Like, this girl's broke, trapped in a thankless job, and shot up with so many drugs she can barely feel her face, but the big thing is that nothing in the song is really, like, judging her for it, just stating things as they are and letting her be happy in spite of it all. Like, yeah, there's a bleakness underlying its euphoria, but it is euphoric first and foremost. It's the best kind of happy song, an absolute stomper, a lived-in breed of joy. Love it, man. And I mean, the tune itself is just fantastic. The chorus of the bop bop ba-das especially, but the stomp of the drums, the roar of the guitars, the grit and power in Laura Jane Grace's voice, who almost certainly wrote this song about herself, about the kind of girl she wanted to be. An exploration of her own queerness disguised as a party rocker. No, not that kind. But yeah, this is the kind of queer euphoria I'm talking about. Just gender, 2000s pop punk, what else is there to say, man? Bringing down the mood after such a high, ain't that just like me, man?
Look up here, I'm in heaven.
It is almost impossible to listen to Lazarus by David Bowie without thinking about it, and then it's impossible to think about it without getting at least a bit emotionally worked up over it. Because, man, why you gotta do this to me? A mere 3 days before his death, David Bowie released Black Star and, alongside it, the music video for Lazarus, in which he plays both the part of himself on his deathbed and the Grim Reaper coming to take him away.
I've got nothing left to lose.
It's not even predicting his death at that point. It's not even accepting it either. It's already past the acceptance of death, where death itself is something freeing more than something to be feared. He's got nothing left to lose. He's got no fight in him. All he wants is for death to free him from his mortal flesh and write his name into the annals of history. And by God did he succeed.
By the time I got to New York.
And like, that's not to undersell the tune itself, which is, well, really damn good, obviously. Really damn effective then, for the gloomy, bleak mood it's trying to portray. A slow, lumbering groove driven by bass and drums, Bowie's strained, aged voice, the saxophone wailing out his death rattles. It's just a fantastic piece of music, even if you put aside the whole, you know, aspect of it. Bowie knew how to write 'em, man.
Ain't that just like me?
And there's something to how that really harsh guitar tone, conscious of how pretty everything else is. Because death isn't pretty. The world may look nice on the surface, but death is always lurking just around the corner, ready to tear everything beautiful to shreds without hesitation. It's rather terrifying, which, I mean, it's only natural to be afraid of death, even if you've already accepted it. And we can only imagine how Bowie felt at the end of it all. What else is there to say? It's Lazarus by David Bowie, and it's absolutely gut-wrenching to listen to. Right, can I get a happier song to balance things out here? No? Okay.
I saw that day.
I'm not actually quite sure how to approach El Mañana because it's hard to pin down its appeal. It's the kind of song that fills me with nothing but negative emotions, with no real deeper meaning or lessons to be learned from it, which probably shouldn't make it a song I love as much as I do, but hey, sometimes it's just like that.
Don't stop the part when it comes, it's the dawn.
I think it would be reasonable to call this a dispassionate vocal performance, but then that's the thing. It's a song about heartbreak and depression, and a rather eerie one at that. Something about using sirens in music like this always messes me up, man. It sounds absolutely bleak in a way few other songs do. I swear that organ lick could kill a man.
Lost my mind.
And like, the worst part of it is, there is hope to be found in this song, that the one he loves will come back to him, that tomorrow will be a brighter day, and that only makes it all the more futile, because it's clear those hopes are in vain. He's holding on to a hope that doesn't exist, one that'll be crushed under the weight of anxiety and grief as he slowly spirals down, much like the famous Feel Good Inc. Island does in the video. Like, it's a very mellow song, but at the same time, there's just so much going on by the end, it ends up feeling really busy and anxious. It's really good at putting you in the same state of mind as the protagonist. Maybe it's not super healthy to so deeply love a song that can instantly put me in a bad mood, but venting those negative emotions before they get the best of you at the worst possible time sounds better than letting them simmer, if you ask me. A strangely beautiful thought, that. You know what? Yeah, this is better than Praying. Like, again, not to diminish Praying, but it was the kind of song Kesha needed to make, and it sucks that she did. Let Him Talk, on the other hand, is the kind of music she's earned. Nobody in the entire world deserves to make a song like this more than Kesha, and that sucks too. It sucks what she had to go through to get to the point of earning this kind of catharsis, but god damn it, she owns the hell out of it. And it's as impressive of a demonstration of Kesha's power as a vocalist as Praying is, if not more so. Like, yeah, Praying has that one note, but here Kesha is just throwing herself into every last line in this song, and that's a big part of why it goes so hard. God damn, girl. There's a lot of songs I can compare this to. Thrash Unreal immediately springs to mind. A euphoric rocker about being yourself and embracing your rough edges despite it feeling like the entire world is against you. But even more than that, I think of Antonym, which takes that same energy and makes it, well, confrontational, aggressive, queer even, committing violence in the name of love. And where Let Him Talk tops both of them, and believe you me, that's a high bar to clear, is just, well, in its tempo. Simply being more upbeat and energetic with this level of playfulness and confrontational lyricism just makes it hit all the harder, rock so much harder. It's just so much fun, y'all. The haters should in fact suck Kesha's dick. Hell yeah. EDM in the top 5? Never thought I'd see the day. Fellow Feeling comes right at the end of Worlds, the album's apocalyptic closing suite, a fond farewell to the digital world it's built. And it's, well, not any of that. Not electronic, purely a piano and strings piece, and far brighter and more uplifting than you'd expect from a world in its death throes. I mean, it does kick into gear after a bit, as the mechanical god of this electronic world reaches out and speaks to the listener directly, and when she does, well...
Now please, hear what I hear.
We get to hear the ugliness buried underneath it all. The whirring and grinding, the plates crashing against each other and smashing into bits. What the cacophony of the world sounds like to a computer. Noise, noise, indecipherable noise. And it's at this point you know for sure this world is breaking down. There's no coming back from this.
This ugliness, this cruelty, this repulsiveness, it will all die out.
And, well, there's a metatextual element to the whole thing, too. Fellow Feeling is basically a song about music, about electronic music, about Porter's feelings towards the electronic music scene, where he, as part of that scene, watched it more from something beautiful to something ugly, almost unlistenable. A pissing contest of harsher and harsher noise. And like, intentionally sabotaging the most beautiful song you've ever made with the most ugly music you've ever made to prove a point and still have it all sound excellent has gotta be like the best prank anyone's ever pulled, right? It's funny how a guy complains about music he doesn't like song from someone actually in the same scene who's upset because they feel like they're growing out of it works so much better than Old Man Yells at Cloud, right, Refused? Fellow Feeling is cinematic in a lot of ways, both in its sheer sound and scope, but also in that it's part of a bigger whole. It's more of a transitional piece than anything, and it never hits quite as hard outside the context of its album, but it's still goddamn fantastic all the same. And the two songs surrounding it are somehow even better. Goddamn Worlds is a great album. Alright, Peckers, it's time to get wholesome up in this birch. I really don't know how to give a better review of Farrah Fawcett hair than the song itself does, honestly. Like, yep, it really is. I think my work here is done. Next. Okay, but for real, isn't this song just so wild? It's like Capital Cities took every single one of their best ideas and jammed it together all into this one song, which should have made an incomprehensible mess, but it turned out that, nah, they just made a masterpiece. Who'd have thunk? Every single part of this song, and by God are there so many parts, is just packed to the brim with color, whether it be via slick guitar grooves, massive walls of synths, or the charisma of all the various vocalists. And it has a stellar sense of humor. The smugness of the announcer, especially on the My Voice line.
Democracy. My voice. My voice.
And all the goofy crowd noises accompanying it. The perfectly timed trumpet solo.
While listening to Bitches Brew as reported by Miles Davis.
And of course, the mere existence of Andre 3000.
Andre 3000.
Full-length mirrors and her hair in a bun.
Like, dude's just having the time of his life here. It's good vibes all around, really. Again, this song is just so wholesome. It's about appreciating all the little things in life that make you happy, no matter how weird or specific they are. It's so cute, charming. It's low stakes. Hell, it's about as low as the stakes can possibly go, and yet it goes so hard in so many ways. Let it not be understated how, like, fantastic that slow build up from the bridge to the final chorus is, and the payoff is immaculate too. God damn, man. Truly one of the songs of all time. And the most wild part, these guys had a hit. I mean, not this song, but still. They got Andre 3000. Man, Capital Cities is just two dudes featuring a third dude, and yet they inadvertently made one of the hottest hot girl jams I've ever heard. Like, hell yeah, gals, let's just enjoy the little things in life and pop the hell off while doing so. Real hot girl shivs.
That's not right.
I mean, can't I just let this one speak for itself?
I was born in the Badlands, honey.
First and foremost, Orville Peck is unquestionably the best singer out of this entire set, and not just because his name has Peck in it. Kalahari Down has gotta be like one of the best vocal performances ever, right? Right? Dude's just so emotive. His voice gives me chills, though not quite as many chills as I get when the chorus hits.
I'm always down for hanging around, left to borrow, gone tomorrow.
Like, it's not even that loud, but it just feels like a dam bursting, letting a tidal wave of emotions flood out. Emotions that amount to a tangible sense of loss, of his childhood, of his first love, even of his place in the world. Peck wrote Kalahari Down about growing up in South Africa, and more specifically, about the boy he crushed on but never admitted to loving. So yes, gay heartbreak. Damn.
Circling the felt, spitting in the jar.
And it's a song of homesickness, but more specifically in the sense that while he could and does go back home from time to time, nothing ever stays the same as you left it. Dust piles up, people move out or move on, the world is in constant motion. That place he left behind, the version of his hometown his memories have built, is no longer there. And all he can do is dream about what could have been had he done all the things he can only now wish he'd done. Watching an alternate version of his life play out on the screen in front of him.
Still tumbling down, what do I know? Bunch of sorrow.
And by God is it a hell of a movie. Kalahari Down is such a cinematic song, grand in scope and in sound. God, those strings just sound heavenly, and the way it progresses, tells its story, feels so fluid and complete. It's the greatest cowboy western never put to film. By the end, I feel like I've been through every last experience Peck has ever had, every last emotion he's ever felt, all in the span of 5 minutes. God damn, man, how did he do it?
And I still hear the sound
From the moment I first heard it, I instantly knew this is one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life, man. It should be illegal for music to be this good. I've listened to this one so many times, I was damn well obsessed with it for like a week or two. Still can't quite yet call it an all-timer, but I'm almost certain it's gonna get there eventually. I just, well, need more time with it, man. While we're waiting for that time to pass, though, how about we get to some actual all-timers?
When come on, Kalahari down, Kalahari down.
Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary pals, I now proudly present My Chemical Romance's best song.
It was the roar of the crowd that gave me heartache to sing.
Man, how could anyone listen to My Chemical Romance and not become an emotional wreck? God damn, man. I refuse to ever leave my emo kid phase. And we all love Welcome to the Black Parade, but nah, Disenchanted beats even that modern classic if you ask me. Like, for one, this is just straight up their best hook.
It is the sad song with nothing to say.
That's really what does it, but frankly, every single last melody in this song slays. The intro guitar, the verses, the pre-chorus, the bridge, the goddamn guitar solo.
But where did you run to? And where did you hide? Go find another.
I swear, every last second in this song is permanently burned into my memory. That's so rare for me nowadays, considering I listen to so much music all the time. Which, speaking of memory, well, it's again the theme of the song.
I spent my high school career, spit on and shoved to agree.
It does, like, exactly what I just talked about in Kalahari Down. Looking back on your life, watching your memories play out like a movie, seeing all your regrets and missed opportunities, except from the perspective of someone at the end of their life, when it's way too late to change any of it, to try and steer your life back in the direction you want it to take.
If I'm so wrong, how can you listen all night long?
It's seeing your life flashing before your eyes and realizing how none of it is going to matter in the end. Not to you anyways. Your life was nothing but a bunch of disappointments and then it ended. That's why the song is Disenchanted. Hell, that's why the band is Disenchanted. Cause like, yeah, there's a metatextual element here too, where Gerard almost seems to foresee the band's forthcoming collapse and starts to worry about what kind of legacy they'll leave behind. Cause like, My Chemical Romance writes dark songs about dark topics, but it's not just for the sake of bringing everyone down, yet that's not how they were seen at the time. They were just another band that wrote sad songs that had nothing deeper to say, to their detractors, hell, even to their younger fans who only listened to indulge their darkest thoughts. And in that sense, the song's practically satirical, like saying, shut the hell up, you sad boy wankers, but to themselves, to the very concept of their band that was inspired by tragedy, and hell, to the very concept of emo itself. Where, yes, there is emotional catharsis to be found, but at what cost if it hurts people more than it helps? Oh my god, am I overthinking it? I feel like I'm overthinking it. Anyways, you're just a sad song with nothing to say. Yeah, no, this song's a downer wrapped in a downer that's so open to interpretation it's painful, but at the end of the day, what really matters to me is that, god, this is just an incredible tune. Probably my favorite one here, but you know what? I don't feel like ending yet another ranking on a depressing note, so let's choose life instead. Maybe it isn't wise of me to choose a song I've only recently fallen in love with over a song I've known for ages, but I can tell you which one currently evokes a stronger emotional reaction, which one I'd rather choose to listen to right at this very moment, and, well, that makes it an easy choice, doesn't it? Because we live in the moment here. You know, it's funny, I've never really been invested in Foo Fighters. Like, yeah, I usually enjoy most songs I hear from them, but I never go out of my way to listen to their albums. I wouldn't be able to name any members of the band aside from Dave Grohl, and, well, when I heard the news that Taylor Hawkins had passed away, the only real reaction I had was, damn, that sucks. Foo Fighters as a band doesn't really mean anything to me.
Million miles away, your signal in the distance.
And yet, when I listen to Walk, it's like I'm experiencing the sum of every emotion the band would have made me feel had I been a lifelong fan. Because, like, it's hard to listen to this song and not project Hawkins' death onto it. The grief they and their fans would have felt, but more importantly, the process of healing, of moving past their grief, of moving on with their lives in spite of it all. Like, that's not what the song is about. Not explicitly, anyways. It's about the process of healing, of getting over some vague loss or hardship, whether it be heartbreak, addiction, or, yes, grief. A process that every single one of us has or will have to go through at some point in our lives. And that's why it works, both as a song that anyone can feel, and as a song the band themselves needs now more than ever. Is it fair to judge this 12-year-old song in the context of an event that happened over 10 years after its release? Not really, no, but like, it's impossible for me not to. I can't not think about it, and if the art itself is good enough, is powerful enough, that it allows me to relate to people I've never met, hell, people I've never even heard of until after their passing, I'm just gonna appreciate it all the more for that. But, I mean, even if I put all that context aside, the tune itself is just excellent. Fantastic melodies, driving riffs, constantly building more and more momentum that all culminates in that monstrous bridge, repeating its mantra of I never want to die till there's nowhere else left to take it. It's going through the process of grief and coming out the other side smiling. Walk is so goddamn life-affirming, it's unreal, man. Facing death head-on and telling it to piss right off. Even then, I'm not sure I actually like Walk more than Disenchanted. Maybe it's wrong of me to put it at the top of this ranking, but screw it. This is the kind of song I need to top this list. The kind of song I'm going to love the most as I grow older. The kind of song that's going to age with me. The kind of attitude I want looking forwards, not backwards. And yeah, I think I can finally bring myself to admit it. Walk is better than Everlong. I don't think I can give it any higher praise than that. Y'all take care of yourselves and I'll see you in the next one.